5,
Okay.
4, 3.
Thank you so much for being here today. And could you tell us your name?
My name is Chieu Anh.
Chieu Anh, okay. You refer yourself as a baby. Can you elaborate the story a little bit?
Well, it's actually quite an interesting story. I was born on the ocean on May 2nd, 1975. My parents were escaping Vietnam at that time. But my story actually started before I was born.
Wow.
After the Fall of Saigon, my mother was in the hospital and they were trying to induce the labor. And my father had a connection with the CIA, and so he said, let's go now. Let's go to the U.S. Embassy and try to escape by helicopter. At that time, the airport was bombed, so that was one of the options to leave Vietnam. And my parents watched the helicopter circle around and around, and the communists were shooting at it, so it never landed. Then the communists infiltrated the U.S. Embassy, and my brother was with them, and he was 2 years old at that time. And they hid inside a closet, and he was scared, and my mother had to put her hand over his mouth so that, she heard the soldiers pass right by. So when it was safe, they went to the port, and they saw a ship in the water, and they took pity on my mother. There was already almost 4,000 people on that ship called the Chung Sun. It means eternal spring. And because she was 9 months pregnant, they took pity on her, and they threw a rope down, and she said, you just have pure adrenaline. And she just climbed this rope to get onto the ship.
Wow. She is so brave.
Yeah, she was a really, really brave woman. So they sailed for a few days, and the water pumps failed. So water got into the boat. They sent SOS signals, and then I was born on a sinking ship. And my collarbone was broken. My eyes were infected shut. And someone held me too tightly. They were scared of dropping me. Imagine all the people around. You can't even sit down. You have to stand, you're like sardines. And later on in the x-rays, it showed that my collarbones, not collarbones, but the shoulder blades, it was curved into U shapes because they held me so tightly.
Tight.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
poor baby.
Excuse me a second. Chị nói em này nè.
Oh, yeah. Was that okay?
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Very good. Cool story, huh?
Oh, yeah. Actually, there's so much to it. Even I don't even know all of it. Was it okay? Okay.
Cô xin lỗi, cô phải làm lại từ đầu nha.
Oh, okay.
Hỏi cái profession của em luôn.
From the top. Camera rolling. Coming to you. In 5, 4, 3.
Thank you for being here with us today. Can you tell us about your name?
Oh, thank you for having me. My name is Chieu Anh.
Chieu Anh. You refer yourself as Chung baby. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, it's actually quite an incredible story on why I refer to myself as the Chung baby. I was born on the ocean on May 2nd, 1975, while my parents were escaping Vietnam. But my story actually began before I was born. After the Fall of Saigon, my mother was in the hospital, and they were trying to induce the labor. And my father, he had a connection with the CIA. So he said, let's go to the U.S. Embassy and try to get the helicopter out of Saigon. So they went there with my brother, who was just 2 years old at that time. And my parents watched the helicopter circle around and around, but the communists were shooting at it. In the end, the communists infiltrated the U.S. Embassy, and my family had to hide inside a closet. And my mother said she heard the soldiers pass right by. Until it was safe, they decided to go to the port.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Phone của ai vậy? Có phải phone của em không?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you can say your dad have a connection with CIA.
Okay, I'll start from there.
Alright, put my seat now. And
My father actually had my father had a connection with the CIA, so they went to the U.S. Embassy to try to escape by helicopter. And my family watched the helicopter circle round and around, but the communists were shooting at it. So my mother's heart just fell as she watched it fly away. And the communists ended up infiltrating the building. My family had to hide inside a closet. And my brother was just 2 years old at that time. And he was scared. He started to cry. And Mom had to cover his mouth. And she said she heard the soldiers pass right by. Until it was safe, they decided to go by port because the airport was already bombed. So that was the only choice left. And they saw a large ship in the water already. And there was almost 4,000 people on this ship called the Cheongsun. And it means eternal spring. And they took pity on my mother. She was 9 months pregnant, and they threw a rope down. And she said she had so much adrenaline, and she just climbed this rope to get onto the ship.
How old were you when you found out that you were Chieu Anh baby?
I actually didn't know the full story for the longest time, and I still am learning more and more about it, and it's such an incredible story. I don't think until high school, because my birth certificate said I was born on the SS Clara Maersk. It was actually the ship that came to rescue the Cheongsun, because the water pumps had failed, water was entering the ship. I was born on a sinking ship, and I didn't realize how important that was. And even my papers to Canada, I was a Danish citizen by default. And it was the Danish consulate that helped my family get settled in Quebec City. So I didn't know until much later. My mother started to tell me the story. And at first I was a little bit upset that what's the truth, But I think my family put down the Danish ship because there was no more nationality to the Cheongsun. Imagine it fled Vietnam and it was sinking, so they were worried there'd be no record of it. So we had no idea that now there's so many survivors around.
So how did you feel at that time when you found out?
Well, I didn't really know about the story, and then as I get older, I just try to research more and more, and then I actually happened to find some survivors on the internet. It's such an incredible thing, and I try to connect with them, and there's a small group of us that email each other with the captain of the ship, of the Cheongsun, Captain Pham. He's like the glue, he's I think 94 years old, he can still email. It's fantastic. So technology is really amazing, and I have to say that I'm so proud to be born on the Vietnamese ship.
How did you feel about your family, especially your mom?
Well, it was really hard growing up. We were the first refugees, and I grew up in such a Western environment. No one looked like me. Everyone said, "Oh, your face is so flat, your nose is so flat," and I didn't think I was really pretty at all. And it was hard to grow up in between two worlds. Imagine my mother having to start her life again. My father had to start his life again. And then there I am in between that. But I think that makes me a stronger person. I feel as a both person, I am a survivor, and it helped me overcome many obstacles in my life.
How does that help shape your life?
Well, I've gone through a lot of obstacles in my life, and I feel that it's just made me stronger. And also, because I didn't fit in, I feel that I can take more risk in business now. I don't fit in anyway, so I might as well go for it, right? So.
Do you still keep in touch with the former Chieu Anh people?
Yes, I actually met quite a few 3 years ago. We went to Sydney, and there was a world reunion. There's people from 9 different countries that went to Sydney, Australia. Out of all the ship, 200 people went to Sydney, Australia, and so it was amazing to meet all these people, and we really are like a family. And I still email them, and we keep in touch, and just say, how are you doing? So.
Fashion design became your career. How did it come to happen?
I didn't choose fashion; it chose me. I was actually studying commerce. I thought I would go into advertising, so I already studied 2 years of commerce, and I took 1 2-week course in fashion illustration, and I knew that this is my calling. As a child, I loved to draw, and I liked to make dresses, and instinctively I knew how to make patterns. And I didn't know until much later, my grandmother was a fashion designer, so I think it was just in my blood. And I had no idea. I actually didn't get along with her that much. I was kind of a bad kid, said no a lot.
So is that your passion?
I have to say it's my calling. So it is a passion. It's something I not just like love to do, I have to do it.
What significance that you have archived in your career?
Well, at that time, I didn't have enough money to finish school. So I only applied to one school. Isn't that so crazy? Good thing I got in, right? I got in with a scholarship, but I didn't have enough to finish all 4 years. And so I had to be the best. And I didn't think I was the best, but I had to be the best. And I had to work so hard, and in the end, I ended up with 10 different scholarships. So, and I got a gold thimble from Parsons School of Design in New York. And I've been really lucky. I got to work in 2 couture houses in Paris. One of them was the protege of Yohji Yamamoto. So I just got to do beautiful, amazing gowns, and it was all about art. But I felt that I had to go back to New York. That's where everything was so hot and new and exciting. So I went back to New York, and I was freelancing for Calvin Klein Collections. Then I got a call from my teacher saying, there's a position open. Nautica is launching a new brand under John Varvatos, and would you like to come join? So I've been a part of 2 successful startups, and one of them I got a corporate award from Liz Claiborne for launching a new brand for them. In 3 weeks' time, they earned over $4 million. So, and then my last corporate job, I was a design director at Gap, and I used to oversee $600 million worth of business. A lot of money, right? A lot of cargo shorts. But it wasn't my dream to work for someone else. I always wanted to have my own voice, and so I launched my own brand in 2009. And I haven't looked back.
So what is your plan for the future now?
Well, I actually have been very lucky with the press, and I've done some great, I got to dress some fun celebrities and been in magazines from like London, LA, New York, just lots of really great things. I got to travel the world, but I think I like to do more charity work. I feel like if I can just use like my background and my talents, maybe I can help raise some more money and just give back to the community. I think that's really important. I just feel as we get older that we should take care of each other and support each other, especially in the arts. Because I actually did a course at UCSD where I was teaching the students, about 200 of them, about self-branding and how you brand yourself as a company so you can get out there and market yourself. And I feel that we should mentor our younger generations. Just be generous, not necessarily with money, but to mentor and teach our youth.
How do you feel, or have you ever desired to come back to Vietnam one day?
I went back to Vietnam 3 years ago, and I don't like to get into the political side of things, but it was so great to see my mother's older brothers. They didn't get to leave Vietnam. One of my aunts was too scared to get on the airplane, even though my mom could sponsor them. She can't even ride in a taxi. She could only go on the motorcycle. But my mom said, "Don't speak English. They're gonna know you're a foreigner." And her brother said, "She doesn't have to say anything. They know that she's a foreigner, so don't worry. She's not from here." But I have to say, like, my aunt took me around to the local market to buy some fabric and some fruits, and she was so proud that, this is my niece, and I had such an amazing time. So the food is so good too.
Do you want to share anything with us that I haven't asked?
One thing that was nice going back to about Vietnam was my mother got to see her 2 older brothers. One of them is not doing well, and he was just so happy to see her that we walked all around the city. But she got to see her father's ashes at the temple, and that was the first time in, I think, 35 years that she saw that. So I think it was very meaningful, and I got to see where she grew up. It's not the same anymore, of course. Nothing is left like it was, but I got to see where she grew up and where she went to school, and it was so nice to see that part of her that I didn't know about. And I realized how much she sacrificed, or both my parents sacrificed, for freedom. We take it for granted here, and I want people to remember a lot of people now on the news, like, they think maybe Vietnam, the war in Vietnam is not so relevant. There are newer wars, more things to talk about. But we can't forget how many people sacrificed. People in Vietnam or the U.S. soldiers, anyone who helped with the war and what the price was for freedom. And just live your life to the fullest and appreciate that. And to remember those that we left behind too.
Thank you. And on behalf of the Vietnamese American Heritage Foundation, I would like to say thank you to you and wish you lots of luck.
Oh, thank you so much. Can I add something? Okay. I feel that it's our duty and obligation to share our gifts to the world. Whether you want to be the best mom, the best doctor, or both, you know, I feel that if you are passionate about something like the arts, singing, dancing, I just watched a modern dance last night and it just moved me to tears. There's some beautiful things that I hope that our community can support more into the arts. So whatever it is our duty to share it with the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. For David, I may have to, because of your answer,
Yeah.
Cô may have some little.
Okay.
Coming to you. 5, 4, 3.
We have seen a photo of your
What?
We have seen a photo of your mom holding you after you were born, wrapped up in a stained blanket, lying in a rusty platform, with your brother sitting at in a corner. Now, have you ever seen that photo?
I have seen that photo, and I just can't imagine giving birth on a ship with no privacy in front of everybody. And thankfully, there was a doctor nearby. They didn't have any equipment or anything, but at least there was a doctor to help.
Were you shocked? How did you feel when you first saw that photo?
I thought it was just an incredible memory that got captured, and that there's proof of what happened, and I just think it's incredible. My eyes are all infected, like I said, and my mother, she had expired eye drops, like for antibiotic, and she put them in my eyes. I didn't open my eyes for the longest time because they're all infected. So, and later on, my shoulder blades, they did go down. So, but I always felt when I was growing up, there was something a little bit strange about my shoulders. So, but I think I look okay, right, today? It's not too bad.
Well, you were born in that condition, then how was your health as a child?
My health as a child actually was pretty good. I think I'm a true stock survivor, so I didn't get sick that much. So I didn't break any bones again after my collarbone, so I think I'm pretty strong. Small but mighty.
You mentioned that it was difficult to fit in at school when you were little. Can you tell us a sample of that?
It was hard to fit in school because maybe it's also the school I was in. I had one girl hold me down and another girl check what brand of jeans I was wearing, and I didn't realize the importance of name brands or anything. My mother just dressed me in whatever she thought was okay, and I didn't realize what importance people place on that. And it was then I realized like I didn't fit in that well.
Can you tell us about your dad? How do you remember him?
Growing up with my father was really difficult. He protested against the war. His father was buried alive by the communists, so he had to witness that. And so he protested against them, and he got injected with antipsychotic drugs. So growing up with him, he always felt the government was after him. So he'd watch the news or read the newspaper. He would think the communist is talking about him. He would put flour on the floor because he thought there'd be some footprints. And we had 15 canaries because he thought if the government poisoned the air, the canaries would die first. So it was very difficult to live with him because even he thought his own family can be against him sometimes.
Tell us about your marital status.
Oh.
If you don't mind sharing.
I guess I'm in between marriages. I had to practice one, so now I'm having fun.
Do you have any kids?
I had a dog, so they're like children, you know. So.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think you need to unplug that phone.
Oh yeah, or put on silent, or especially if you're so busy.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Oh, do you want to start over with the question?
No, just go to the next question.
Oh, I'm not done. All right.
You're not done yet?
Yeah. I was
All right.
Okay.
Just repeat that.
Okay.
The rest.
I like to say that I am a very cool aunt. I get to babysit a little bit sometimes, or just come in and spoil my nieces and nephews, and then I get to leave.
So if one day you have kids, do you plan to tell your kids about your story?
I would tell everyone my story. I am so proud of it, and I think everyone should know about it. So whenever I see people, if I get the opportunity, I love to pass on the story. Whenever I pass through the U.S. Customs, they call me the Mermaid because they saw that I was born at, it says born at sea. So whenever I pass through San Francisco, they have a photocopy of it. And they're like, oh, it's the Mermaid. It's really funny.
Do you have any advice for young kids or young girls who have disadvantages and would like to follow their dream?
My advice for young girls is just go for it. I know it's okay to be both Vietnamese and American. You have a voice, and use it. You know, each one is so powerful, and that if you're passionate about something, go for it. And I just hope that I can help them in any way. If they want to reach out to me, I would love to, you know, mentor them and just follow your dreams.
You mentioned that you got your own name brand.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh, in 2009, I started my own collection. It's called Lune, and it means one in French. It's the idea of me becoming one with myself again. And it also means the moon. And my name in Chinese means full moon in autumn. So in Vietnamese, it means shining light. So it has a lot of meaning behind it. My first collection was all about survivors, really strong female women that I knew that survived cancer, or they were told they had only a few years to live, or they were abused. And so each dress was not just a dress, it was actually you're wearing someone's story. And when someone bought the dress, I would write and tell them the story behind it.
Is it the dress that you're wearing now is one of your collection?
It is. This is one of my designs. So it's made with one seam, so it wraps around the body. It's about being one with your clothes.
You done? All right.
Okay. Is that good?
Giờ con quay không?
quay.
Yeah. Camera rolling. At 5, 4, 3.
Since you were born on a ship, what nationality are you?
Well, it's changed over the years of what nationality I am. So I was born at sea, and that's what it says on my passport. Since my parents rode the Danish ship, I was Danish, and then I became Canadian since they immigrated to Canada. They actually applied for France since we had relatives there, but the Canadians came first, and they felt like they had to go with the first one. So they were scared about going to Canada because they heard how cold it was. So I became Canadian. and now living in the U.S. I'm applying for my U.S. citizenship, and I'm going to be changing my last name to my grandmother's because I feel I want to honor her, and I feel as I get older that I want to go back to my roots. I think it's important to remember where did I come from and who I am.
And what is that?
I'm proud to be Vietnamese, whether it's Vietnamese, Danish, Canadian, American, whatever it is, I'm proud to be Vietnamese.
So what is your grandmother's name?
Oh, her last name is Vu, so I'll be Vu Chieu Anh.
Thank you.
Hopefully soon.